Guys, woo, today you finally get to see Wild Spirit's face. That's awesome. First time ever, so today I figured it wouldn't work very well if you couldn't see my face. You'd be staring at nothing for a while. So today is kind of a video for any of you that are fairly new to the model horse hobby or are a little bit confused about what live showing is, because I know it can be a little bit of a confusing thing to hear about. When you first hear it, you're like, plastic horses are being judged against one another. What's so special about that and how does it work? Trust me, I know how that is. So today I'm going to kind of explain the basics of live showing your model horses. So that one will be a pretty fun one. So first and foremost, what in the world is a live show? Now, a live show is pretty much a get-together from anywhere from like 10 people to 200 people at bigger shows like NAN. And they gather and kind of show off their model horses. Lots of fun stuff going on there. And I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but it is fun to gather with other collectors and show off your models. And these horses, they are judged against each other on a table. You set up all your horses along a table and they're all judged against each other to see who is the best of the best. Lots of fun stuff going on there. But the trick is, how in the world can a plastic or sometimes a resin model horse be judged against each other? That's like pure craziness. The first time I heard it, I'm like, what? Model horses are put on a table to be judged against each other? You say that to a non-model horse collector and it'll go phew, right over their head. Lots of crazy stuff going on there. They look at you like you're totally crazy. So, I'm going to explain to you how to not sound crazy when you're talking about it, or at least hopefully not sound crazy. Alright, so to start off with, each live show, well, first of all, there's a judge. There's a few judges at each show. And each show has several large categories. I'm not sure what they're actually called, but they're categories. And first of all, there's halter. The most common one is halter classes, where basically you're taking your horse, setting it up on the table just like this. You just set it up just like that. You make it all clean and pretty. You don't have to worry about putting any tack on it or anything like that. Even though it's called halter classes, I wouldn't actually recommend putting them in halter unless it's appropriate for the breed, of course, but that's for another video. And then the next category is performance classes. Now, say there's a performance class that could be Western barrel racing, whatever. That's where you'll set up your barrel racer, put a barrel in front of them, put all their Western tack on and whatnot. Just make it look accurate. Now, I've never actually showed performance showing, so this whole video is going to be based on halter showing, so please keep that in mind. But I've heard performance showing is really, really fun as long as you know what you're doing. Lots of good stuff going on there. And then there's collectability classes, where collectability is judged based on, it's based on rarity, it's based on desirability of the model, and the age of the model. And among some other things, but those are the most important. So really a lot of times the really old models, the old rare models do the best. Now just because they're old doesn't mean they're collectible. Like you'll take the family or the Palomino family Arabian Stallion and it's a dime a dozen for that one. So I wouldn't recommend showing that guy in collectability. He's not going to do very well unless he's amazing and chalky or something like that. But with those ones, it's generally the really old models, or say like a raffle model from Briarfest or an auction model. Any one-of-a-kind models do really, really good. My phone's trying to kill me. Hold on. Yeah, go away. Okay, goodbye. Okay, now that that's over with. So that's with collectability. And then the final category that's in most shows is workmanship. Workmanship is where you put a bunch of custom models on a table, and instead of being judged based on like anatomy and conformation and whatnot, they're based purely on their paint jobs. So say this girl right here, who is incredibly dusty, and I really need to dust her. Oh, that makes me sad. Anyways, there's usually an unrealistic color class, which is one that she would go in very, very well. And so when they're judged against each other, they're judged purely on the paint job. Is it all globbed onto the horse, or does it look like an original finished paint job? So it's just anything that makes it look really, really good. And there's usually I lost my train of thought again. There's usually, that's unrealistic, that's what I was looking for. There's usually an unrealistic color class for like this girl right here. Then there's ones based on color, like you'll have one that's a bay class or chestnut class, a pinto class, and dilute class, stuff like that. Lots of fun stuff. I do like workmanship classes. They're pretty fun to show in, and I want to start showing some of my own personal customs in those classes just to see how they do. Alright, and then within those larger classes, there are usually smaller, or not classes, categories. There are usually smaller categories, which generally in an average show, there's OF models. It's usually called OF plastic, which is like this guy right here. He's an OF model. OF means original finish, and that just means it's how they look from the factory. You have done nothing to alter them. They don't have a new mane, tail, they don't have new paint, anything like that. They're just like they were when they came from the factory. Pretty simple. And then you have original finish mini, which is just like it sounds. It's OF models, but in small scale, because it's hard to judge a large scale model against a small scale model. So some shows are fair and they split them up. So like this would be an OF mini model. Cute, adorable ones that you can buy about 10 of them for the price of one traditional model. Well, that's the reason why I have so many of those. But anyways, after that, there's also custom classes, or it's usually custom / artist resin classes where you'll take a customized model horse. So one that you have added your own paint to, you've altered it somehow, you've given it a new mane, tail, whatever. And then there's customized mini, which is just exactly what it sounds like. All right, and then within those categories, there are divisions. I finally got the word right. There are divisions inside of the categories. Now, usually in halter showing, it's like a light breed class, a sport breed class, a stock breed class, a pony class, another class, draft class, whatever. Stuff like that. And then there's usually a foal division too. There's a specific division for foals. Do not show your foals in the breed class. So there's those ones. And then within the divisions, there are classes. Now, say for example, you have your stock horse division. Class 1 might be quarter horse, 2 might be Appaloosa, 3 might be paint horse, so on and so forth. You just need to be sure you're showing your horse in the right class. After all, I mean, you wouldn't want to put this girl right here in a thoroughbred class. As much as I would love for thoroughbreds to come in a marbled pink and purple color, they don't, sadly, so she wouldn't do very well. She'd be kicked out pretty quickly, sadly. So just be sure you're putting your horses in the right class. Otherwise, the judge might just kind of look at the horse and be like, oh, how cute, they tried to show their quarter horse as a thoroughbred. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, now after we're done with all the categories and classes and whatnot, which sounds really confusing, but I promise it's pretty easy to get a hang of. Now, what the horses are judged on. They are judged based on, first of all, their ABCs, which means anatomy, which is how their muscles go and everything, how their bones are set up and whatnot. It's hard to explain, but it makes sense when someone says anatomy, right? And then there's biomechanics, which means if it was a real horse, could it actually move without hurting itself? Like there are some models that, oh, they don't work very well. Like, I don't know if you can see him, but the Esprit model, he has such a dislocated shoulder that, oh, he's not going to do very well. And then C stands for conformation, which is just things that make the horse look pretty. A horse doesn't need perfect conformation in real life to be able to walk. Of course, perfect conformation is desirable in a halter class, whatever. And then, so there's those ones. And then they're also judged on condition. So obviously you don't want to show your horse that has a broken leg. He's not going to do very well in the show. And then also, you don't want to show your horses that have like rubs or nicks or anything. I doubt you can see that in the camera on his little leg. I don't think you can see it. But he does have a scratch on his leg right there from his packaging, and I'm probably going to customize this poor little guy. But he wouldn't do very well because he has a scratch on him. You want your models to be in really good condition. You don't want them to be scratched or anything on them. So that's another thing the judges base off of. Also dust. Be sure you dust your horses. I cannot stress that enough. Dust your horses. Oh, sometimes dust can make the difference between first and no placing at all. All right. Now, what can you bring to a show? That's probably important. So first of all, the class limit. Usually classes, usually shows, will limit their horses, or they will limit their class size per person to, you can bring about 2 to 3 models per class per person. So like I could bring 2 thoroughbreds into a thoroughbred class. I couldn't bring 3 or one of them would be disqualified or whatever. It just depends on the show. Be sure you read your show packet. Like I know Breyerfest is only 2 models per class in the open show. And Nan, I think, is unlimited. And then as far as overall models go, most shows don't limit you as far as overall. Like most of them, you can bring 200 models. As long as you can keep up with the show and show your 200 models, you're fine. But Breyerfest, on the other hand, and probably some other shows too, I know Breyerfest limits you to 50 models per person, excluding collectability classes, I believe. So there's those ones. So again, just be sure you read your show packet just to see, okay, how many horses can I bring? And of course, if you're a beginner shower, I would not recommend bringing like 50 horses or something like that. I mean, my first show, I only brought 15 horses. I did not bring a lot of horses just because I was new to it. I didn't really know what I was doing. When you don't know what you're doing, if you bring too many horses, you're going to get so lost. You're going to miss classes. Oh, it's not going to be fun. So just bring enough horses that you know you can pack, that you can show, that you can keep up with, everything like that. So just be smart if you're going to your first show or a second show even. Just figure out how many you can show at once. And then also what you can bring as far as the brands of model horses. Now, obviously the most common ones, there are Breyers. Breyers are pretty common. That's one of the most common ones you'll see at a horse show. There's Peter Stone horses, though that's another big company that you'll see a lot. You'll see a lot of resins, a lot of artist resins in the custom classes. Those are pretty high caliber, and I'm very glad they don't show in original finished classes. I would be dead. I'm like, oh, I could never do that. Resins are expensive too. I'm jealous of anyone that can afford those. And then also there's smaller models that you wouldn't think of. Like you can show Schleich horses. I've shown Schleich horses a lot. I customize Schleich horses, so just because they're more of a toy grade, they're softer plastic and whatnot, you can still show them. They sometimes actually do really, really well. Because, I mean, they have so much detail in those molds. They have all the hair and everything. It's crazy. As long as they're painted well and as long as you find one that's in good condition. I mean, they're not in any boxes, so it's not like they're protected from anything, sadly. You can also bring collecto horses. I think that's what they're called. You can bring pretty much anything. Anything that looks like a horse and has the anatomy of a horse. Like, of course, there's My Little Ponies. They're horses, right? But they sure don't have the anatomy of a horse. I sure wish horses could come in pink, but sadly they won't show very well in a show. Unless there's a fun class for My Little Ponies or whatever, but just, of course, just be smart on the horses that you show. And, ow, as I elbow my bed. Breyers and Stones generally show the best in original finish. Resins show amazing in customs, but that's for another video. I'm going too long as it is. And then, the most exciting part, what you can win at a show. Now, most classes, they are pinned from 1st through 6th place. Now, some shows will go up to 10th place. I believe Breyerfest goes to 10th place because there are so many horses there. And then Nan always has the top 10 rosettes and whatever. My phone is killing me again. Lots of fun stuff going on with those ones. And some shows might have honorable mentions. I can't think of any off the top of my head that do. And then another fun thing is in a qualifying show, if you win 1st or 2nd place, you'll actually get what's called a NAN card, which is North American Nationals. Oh, those cards are so cool to win because that means that you qualify to go to the Nationals, which is where the best of the best horses go, which means that your horse that got a NAN card is one of the best. It's super cool. Lots of fun stuff going on. I've never been to Nan. It's always too far away, but I want to go one day because it sounds fun and I like winning NAN cards and I like seeing all the pretty horses on Amazon.org. So, and then, before I start rambling again, if you win 1st or 2nd place in a class, At the end of a division, like say at the end of the stock horse division, the judge will call back your first and second place horses. So say the judge is like, okay, any stock horses that won first or second place, bring your horses back so we can call the champions. Stuff like that. So say you had a quarter horse that won first place and an Appaloosa that won second place. You bring those both back to the table. Make sure you bring them back to the table because it's not fun when you miss out on a championship opportunity. And then from there, all the first and second places will be judged against each other. One of them will get a champion and the other one will get a reserve champion. Lots of fun stuff with those ones. And at some shows, it's usually the bigger shows, usually the smaller shows don't have them, but some shows will actually award prizes for champions and reserve champions, which is pretty cool. I know Breyerfest gives glossy prize models, which is amazing. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Breyerfest so bad, but I have to wait until 2016, so I can hope, right? There's all those, and another fun thing about shows too is a lot of them will have auctions going on. They'll have silent auctions going on as well as raffles. I mean, like this horse right here that I already showed you, I won her in an auction, and then, come here, don't knock the other ones over. And then this girl right here, this itty bitty little one, I won her in a raffle. So, lots of fun stuff you can get. A whole lot of goodies at shows. And then of course, even if you don't win anything, it's still super fun. It's such a fun experience. I mean, live showing is what got me into the model horse hobby. Like, I collected, but I didn't do anything else other than collecting. But I officially got into the hobby when I started showing. So, showing is super, super fun. If you ever have any questions about the generals of live showing that I don't cover in my other tutorials, feel free to just ask me in the comments and I'll reply back for you. Alright, thanks so much for watching. I will be back hopefully soon with a tutorial for you.